Hello, and this time it's a little bit different. We're looking at a VW Golf. This applies to quite a few VWs that have the reverse camera built into the boot switch. It's actually the VW logo on the back. I'll show you the problem and we'll take a look. Now you probably don't recognize this VW Golf. That is because it actually belongs to my dad, and he's been having a few problems with the boot. It's a really common problem with these VWs that have the reverse camera built into the boot switch, which is actually the VW logo. Let me show you what I mean by the VW logo. You can see here it's in its out position. That's actually because the camera is deployed, and that means that you can't actually unlock the boot because it's an electronic boot latch, and the boot latch will only work when that camera is in the closed position. Now you can see here it's getting stuck when it's in the out position. You can see there I can push it and it seems to reset the mechanism occasionally, but it gets stuck. So we're going to take a look, see if we can work out what exactly it is that we need to do to solve this. The first thing is how to actually gain access. So you open the boot and you can see the rear cover here. I'm showing you where some of the tabs are on the clips, so you can see that these, I'm just highlighting them, are prise out tabs. So you just pop those out, which helps the boot come out. The other thing that's holding it are the screws. Now let me just show you actually where those metal tabs fit into. You can see that's where they push into. There's a few of them dotted around. There are 3 or 4 screws as well. Let me show you where some of those screw holes fit in as well. Just on the next little bit of video you'll see some of the screw fittings. There they are there. That's where the screws screw through the boot plastic liner into the boot itself. Now that we're in there, we can look at the electrical connections that connect up. There's 3. There's 1, 2, and then the third one. You follow the wire along and down, and there's the third connector there. So all 3 of those need to come out because we're going to take the whole assembly, so that's the switch and the camera assembly out. So first connector here, you can see it's a push tab. Push it down and it pops out. Second one is a little bit trickier. You have to really get your nail in to press the tab on this one to release it. Now I didn't manage with my nail, so you'll see just use a screwdriver just to push the tab like this, and then the wire will just pop straight out without too much force at that point. By the way, you also need to remove the entire connector, and you can see it's just a push clip that takes that off. And then the final one, this one isn't too bad. Again, just push to release the connector. You've got to use 2 hands with it though. Push the connector up and then it just comes loose like that. And now we're onto a strange thing. This is the water drain hole, and you can see it just at the top. We have actually taken one of the screws out already. You can see here this little plastic connector. You have to undo that, so unscrew it with the Phillips screws, and this holds a plastic pipe in place that then allows the drain, and the drain feeds to the bottom of the boot, and you can see just a little bit of force, you pull it and it comes out. You can see there's rubber bung at the bottom. This is well worth a clean, and actually when it comes to refitting, we've got a little bit of a trick later on that will make that so much easier. And now the final 3 torques that will let us remove the whole assembly. It comes out as an entire one piece. So there's 1, 2, and the third one is at the top left. Now when you undo all of these, you do also need to give it a twist to unlock it out, so it won't just fall straight out. You'll see just a anti-clockwise, it's a clockwise click, and the whole piece comes out, and there you go. We've got the entire assembly that we can take a look at. Now, an important point here is do not close the boot without this attached, because the electronic catch will trigger and you can't open it unless you can reach in and pull this emergency release. It's a good tip to know that. So we've got the unit on the bench now, so we can take a little look, and it's just a matter of following the screws and undoing them bit by bit to get access to the mechanical component which allows this to work. So again, a few Torx drivers and we'll get this open, and I'll show you what's inside and what it is I think that is causing it to stick and jam. This first piece I'm just about to remove from the top, that's the whole camera assembly and the motor. So what we've done is we've left the actual boot release, the switch, in the bottom half, and this top half behind the flap here is the camera itself that folds out, and the bottom half of this mechanism is the motor and the cam that makes it all work, and the gears. So we're going to take a look into there. So again, some more Torx will remove this cover and let us get further access so we can look at the gears and check everything is okay there and with the motor. Now once we've got these removed, you can see the circuitry involved with this, a lot of electronics. Now I'm going to put that cover back on again to protect that, because we don't need that side, we actually need the other side, which you can see now is free to open. Now that's an important thing, that little arm there slots into the slot that you just saw, and that operates the whole mechanism. Now I'm going to show you that. There's the slot close up, and by pushing and pulling on that, that is how the camera pops open. Now you will notice there is quite a lot of silicone grease on this component. That is because we've already had this open and we've greased all of the mechanism, because that is one of the big culprits of why this sticks. This whole mechanism dries up and gets stuck. And you can see now we've greased this, and that actually is moving quite smoothly without too much force. I know it doesn't look like it moves very freely, but compared to what it was like, that's a huge difference, and that will help to make sure the motor can easily drive it back open and shut. So you can see how that works. That just pops the camera out and back in again. So that's the first thing. You want to clean all of that up and make sure that that runs really freely. The second half of that is this piece here, which is what houses the motor and gearbox, and you can see it drives that arm that's in the middle of the unit. So another few Torx that I can remove, and then we can get access to the gears and the little gearbox. And this is a second thing that we suspect might be causing problems. So if I now lift this piece off, you'll see we've now got access to the gears and also the little micro switch that tells it, that's me clicking the switch, that tells it whether it is fully closed. And this brings us to our second potential problem. These two gears here, we suspect that if they have slipped slightly, they've moved a tooth, especially if you've taken this off and the cam is maybe one tooth or two teeth out of position, that could also cause the problem, because we do think what's happening is the camera is coming out too far, and that's stopping the mechanism from easily pulling it back in again, and it just doesn't do it. So yeah, so that's one of the potential problems that we need to address. So you need to make sure when you're putting it back together like this, you make sure that everything lines back up again. That lever lines up straight into the slot. You can see there, just making sure that that is absolutely in the right place, and then you can put it all back together again. Once you've got that all back together, we can now start to reassemble it. And here, this is where I think this is the easier way to reassemble it. You see, I've already put the white drain plug on, but not the pipe. The pipe's actually easier to feed in from the top. Slot that in first, and then we can join it up in a second. Let me show you. We slot the pipe in from the outside. This is where it'll drain out to eventually. Slide that in up to the rubber bung and then just press it lightly so that it's flush. And then you can see now the pipe is down and in the right position. And because we'd already attached the white little plug on the end there, all we need to do now is lift it into place, give it that very slight twist to lock it into place. Just line it up and click it into place. And then what we can do is we can just attach that pipe onto the end fairly easily. Once that's plugged back in again, all we do is connect each of the electrical connectors back up. Oh, by the way, I've already put the Torx bolts back in again, so it's all secure. We just connect our 3 electrical connectors back up again, clip that one back into place so the cable isn't hanging down. And that's the second one in place. And our third one, and then we can test it out. Okay. Yep, that popped open. And there you have it, a potential quick fix for your VW if it's having problems with its reverse camera getting stuck. Definitely get in there, make sure it's nice and clean and greased up, and check those little teeth and make sure they're in the right position. So hope this has been useful to you, and I will see you in the next video.